decimals, percentages, a little bit of probability, and how they all relate to each other. So for this first video, we're going to talk about converting between fractions and decimals to fractions. So first, we're going to talk about fractions to decimals. So it's only one step. So go ahead and write this in your notes. You divide the numerator, which is the top number, by the denominator, the bottom number. So in this first example, we have 5/8. So we take the numerator and divide it by the denominator. So I'm going to go ahead and add a decimal here because that goes into there 0 times. And so then we have 8 divided by 50. And 8 goes into 50 6 times. Drop down to 0. 8 goes into 20 2 times. 8 times 2 is 16. Remainder 4. Keep doing this until I get to the end, until there's no remainders. Again, you can do this in your calculator pretty easily. So 8 goes into 40 evenly 5 times. Remainder of 0. So 5/8 is equal to 0.625 as a decimal. All right, let's look at another one. We have 3/4. So in this one, again, we're going to take the numerator, that top number, and divide it by the denominator, that bottom number. So 3 divided by 4. And each of these, they're not going to be able to go into that first number. So I'm going to automatically add that decimal 0. So then we have 40 goes into 30 8 times. Or sorry, 7 times. 28. 4, I gotta bring down that 0. 4 goes into 25 times. So 3/4 is equal to 0.75. That might be kind of familiar to you because when you're dealing with quarters, it's the same as dealing with quarters like a money. So if you have 3/4, 3/4, you have 75 cents. So this is how these can kind of relate to real life. So let's do one more together, and then I'll give you one to do on your own. So we have 3/16. So again, we're taking the numerator, dividing by the denominator. So if you see in this one, I also have to add a 0 decimal. 16 goes into 30 one time. So then 30 minus 16 is 14. So then we're going to drop down another 0. 16 goes into 148 times. 16 times 8. 128. 120. So 16, let's try 7. 112. And we can keep going from there. But we're going to stop at this. So what we can also do is we can also round it to 2 decimal places. Just like we talked about in the rounding videos, this is greater than 5, so we're going to go up. So we're going to round it to 0.19. All right, so I'm going to give you one to do on your own, and then we'll come back and do it together. Let's look at this one. 8/25. So we're going to start the same way by putting the numerator divided by the denominator. add that decimal 0. And this one I'm going to use a calculator just to make it a little faster, easier. Remember, you can use your calculators on these ones. Good to practice it both ways so that you know how to use this calculator to save you time, but you also know how to do it without the calculator just in case it's in one of those questions at the beginning of the test where you can't use your calculator. All right, so looking at this, I'm going to take my calculator and I'm going to say 80 divided by 25 goes in 3 times. And 3 times 25 will give you 75. Bring down a 0. 25 goes into 50. That's an easy one, 2. So 25 times 2 is 50, which gives me a remainder of 0. So you should have gotten 0.32 for that one. So try this last one on your. Over 25. Starting it the same way again, 17 divided by 20, adding my decimal zeros. So 20 goes into 170. So I'm going to say 170 divided by 20 8 times, and 20 times 8 is 160. Give me a remainder of 10. Bring down that 0. And I know 20 goes into 100 5 times, which will give me 100. You can also, in these ones, straight up do this in your calculator. So you can say 17 divided by 20, and it'll give you 0.85. So either way, know how to do it both ways. Save yourself some time. If you can use a calculator, use your calculator. All right. So in a second, we're going to talk about converting from decimals to fractions. Look at this next one. So 0.625. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 625 and put it as a fraction over 1. Then I'm going to add zeros until the denominator has 1 place more than the numerator. So there are 3 up here. I want to make sure this one has 4. So then I'm going to do the same thing we did on that last one. And I'm going to keep simplifying. 25 goes into both of those. So I'm going to take my calculator. I'm going to say 625 divided by 25. 25 goes into there 25 times. And 1,000 divided by 25, 40 times. So I can simplify it by 5 again. So 5 goes into 25 5 times and into 48 times. So then that simplifies into 5/8. Let's look at one more question. So we have 2.35 wants this as a fraction. So when you have a whole number in front of the decimal, what we're going to do is we're going to take it and we're going to set it aside. So I'm just going to put the 2 here because I know it's 2 and something. So it's 2.35. So I'm going to have 2 and a fraction. So now we have just 0.35. So I'm going to take 35, put it as a fraction over 1, add zeros until the denominator has 1 place value more than the top number. And then I'm going to start simplifying. Again, the ones that end in 5 or 0, it's really easy to simplify them by 5 first. So in 35, 5 goes in there 7 times, and 20 goes into 120 times. And we can't simplify that anymore. So we need to not forget that 2. So it becomes 2 and 7/20. All right, go ahead and try these next ones on your own. to keep doing what we've been doing. So we have 0.375. I'll take that 375, put it over 1, and then keep adding those zeros. 1, 2, 3. So this one has 4, this one has 3. We're good. On this one, I'm going to start with 25 again. 25 just seems like a good place to start. So I'm going to say 375 divided by 25. That'll give me 15. Take 1,000 divided by 25. Gives me 40. Well, 5 can go into both of those. 3 times and 8 times. So on that one, the answer is 3/8. All right, go ahead and try one more on your own. For this last example, we have 0.825. Same steps. I'm going to take 825, make it a fraction over 1, and then add zeros. This one has 4 place values. This one has 3. In this one, we can use 25 again. I like problems that have those 5s and zeros at the end because they're really easy to work. They're easy to simplify. And a lot of the time, the test won't give you something that's like crazy out there, insanely difficult to solve. They like to give you numbers that are easy to divide, easy to multiply, so they can see what you know and not necessarily can you figure out the super hard problem. They say, you know the concepts, can you apply them? They usually don't try to trick you. So we say 825 divided by 25 gives me 33. And then 1,000 divided by 25 gives me 40. And that looks like it's as simplified as it can be. So 33 over 40. And that's it for this first lesson.